All right, this could be the best old school ZT ever made. Tell me down below in the comments what you think. This is the Zero Tolerance 777. Nobody really knows how many of these were made. I don't even know what year these were made. I didn't look that up real quick. But this has amazing carbon fiber scales. Let's just start there. And you can see there's something going on with the blade too. And we'll get to that. 3D milled carbon fiber with no voids that I've seen. We'll take a quick close-up look here. I mean, it's just beautiful. Now, the clip, I've talked about this before. The clip, I don't want the clip being longer than the knife, if that makes sense. I don't need it extending past the butt end of the knife, but that's what they did. They milled it in there, 0777. It's kind of just known as the 777. Subframe lock. It's just gorgeous. This belongs to Alex over the Watch and Cut channel. I will put a link to his channel down below and up in the corner after we're done. There'll also be a link to my ZT playlist down below and up in the corner. This thing is just fantastic. It's super light. Comes in at 4.1 ounces. Granted, this comes in at like 1.5 ounces, but they're different, but similar. And we'll talk about that. The detent on this thing is light, but it opens every time. However light I can try. Oh, that's the first time I've been able to make it not fire. But you're going to pick it up and you're just going to fire it. It's not too light that it won't fire, right? I've had some on the channel before that the detent was almost non-existent. And so you had to give it a bunch of wrist when you flipped it. Now, this one just works. Now, this is like a different ZT I did recently. This also has a dual blade steel. So let's take a close-up look at that. So you have the herringbone Damascus, which is a pattern of herringbone of Damascus that I love. I have this similar big bodega that has a super tight herringbone pattern. So tight you barely even know it's there, but it has some texture to it. And I've done a video on this as well. I love the way this looks. It looks almost like multiple steels also, because it almost looks like this is not the Damascus, but it is. It's all just one piece here. But the way it's finished, you've got the Damascus in the fuller and on the grinds, but then, and you can see it in the spine, but the rest is just kind of mono looking. So I love the Damascus pattern. And when Alex lent this up, I was touched. So you've got the herringbone Damascus and you've got a stone-washed Van X 35. There's several different Van X's. The last video I just did of the Shiro F3 had Van X 37. I am not a metallurgist. I generally don't care too much about blade steel, so I don't know the nuances and the differences. You can go Google that if you like. Okay. Also on the inside, you can see that sub frame lock. No milling because they need to keep the strength. But the backspacer is milled out heavily. Again, for cleaning purposes. Little dust there. And to help with the weight. This thing is just, frankly, badass. I love this sheep's foot blade shape. Something about the action is just different than anything else. It's hard to explain. There's a steel lock bar insert and an over travel stop here. The pivot work is just beautiful. Like the only nitpick I can have for me personally on this knife is the pocket clip. It sticks out maybe 1/4 of an inch. Not necessary. I would have liked that to be flat with the butt end of the blade. Other than that, has multiple deployments if you want. You can Spidey flick it. You can sort of thumb it. I did it earlier. It's a lock bar pressure thing. You got to watch your finger on the back side. And then you can sort of thumb it, okay? I would just flip it. This would just be a great flipper knife for me. So let's talk about the specs. It's 5 inches with the clip. Okay, all these measurements are with the clip. 8 3/4, including the clip. 3.76, 3.83 on the edge. It's a bit thicker behind the edge. Back in the day, thin behind the edge wasn't like what everybody was going for. So this one's at 0.30. Blade thickness is 154. We talked about the blade steel. We talked about the weight. Overall thickness is just 0.523. So it's very thin in the hand, but it just fits really well. That finger groove, the swell back here on the top, it just, it's a thing of beauty. It really is. And obviously it runs on bearings. Now, some similarities with the interface. Dual material blade construction. All carbon fiber up here, 2 different types on this particular model. Usually it's just one type of carbon fiber. And then on the standard builds, it's M390. This one is a Damasteel. And then carbon fiber for the scales. Titanium lock bar or titanium sublock versus Timascus lock bar. So similar, but completely different. It's equally magic how they fuse the blade materials together. This one is just 2 pieces of metal kind of smashed together somehow. I don't know. This is actually 3 pieces. You've got the steel, and you've got the left side and the right side of the carbon fiber that's sandwiched together, and then it's all fused and ground and polished and sharpened and all that stuff. This one you can tell I use to cut open boxes. Also runs on bearings. One of my most carried knives. This thing, man, this is quintessential, classic, old school ZT. You could not go wrong if you could find one of these. Good freaking luck finding one. This is Alex's baby. Loves this knife. I'm shocked that he sent it up to me. That's what a good friend he is. Here it is next to the interface, just so you have some size comparisons. Here it is next to the Kubi KB237. Spyderco Delica. And I'll give you a full look at the Big Knives Bodega. This one actually has a G10 frame with carbon fiber inlay, and then their sub frame lock as well. They call it a sub frame lock. It is a removable frame lock with these screws here. You can take this frame lock off and it can be replaced. That's the whole point. Yeah, I don't know. I've carried this a lot, as well as all of my bodegas, and I've never needed a lock bar replaced, but hey, what do I know? So if you made it this far, please comment down below 777 and go check out Alex's channel and my ZT playlist in the corner, because there's a lot of cool old schools I've just recently done, and they're all up here in the corner.